The world in your head.
We have conscious knowledge of the 3D world around us. It feels like the space we can perceive is infinitely large. We can see the hand in front of our face, together with stars that are hundreds of light years away. Representations like dioramas and TV screens just clip things, so only part of everything is represented. If our brains did this kind of clipping, we wouldn't be able to have conscious knowledge of things infinitely far away. Our brain has a way of representing an infinite amount of space inside a finite amount of neural tissue. Lehar has described the mathematics of how our brain achieves this. Vergence is the measure of convergence between two eyes in a binocular system. The vergence angle gets smaller with distance. And when the distance is 0, the vergence angle is 180 degrees or pi radians. Next, we flip the plot upside down to plot rho equal pi minus v to map the range from 0 to pi, where rho at 0 equals 0 and rho at infinity equals pi. This provides an extraordinary distance metric for all distance perception because it maps an infinite range to a finite bounded range even in a monocular perception. Now for the complete bubble transform, we have to take every point in 3D Euclidean space, convert it to polar coordinates with elevation and azimuth angles, and a Euclidean distance measure, an angle radius representation in polar coordinates. Next, we compress the distance metric by the linear bubble compression. This shrinks the distance to each point radially inward toward the center, with the bizarre property that points from infinity in all directions are mapped to the surface of the bubble sphere, while intermediate points between 0 and infinity get mapped to some points within the sphere. When you think about it, what we are visually aware of has a size to it. The blue sky above us seems to be a mile or so above. The horizon, moon and stars all seem to be flat, as if they were painted on the same surface. This is the size of our conscious knowledge bubble world. As we morph between a Euclidean world with infinitely long parallel lines, we can see more and more of what extends out into infinity being pulled into the limits of our bubble world. Here is the Z dimension before scaling, clipped here. Here's the Z dimension once scaled. Bubble world pulled inside of the clipped region, as seen from behind the bubble, able to see the rose vanishing point on the outside of the bubble world. As we pan around, we can see the bowl shape of this hemisphere of our bubble world knowledge. In reality, when cut in half like this, it looks like a bowl. The lines are curved, and none of them are parallel. Yet from the person's point of view, all the lines seem to be straight and parallel. Curved lines that seem to be parallel from our perspective within the bubble-shaped knowledge. The reason dioramas are so compelling to us is because of the way we represent visual knowledge in this bubble world. Just like our conscious knowledge, everything in the distance can be just painted infinitely thin on the limits of the world, making it seem to us like they are really far away, not just paint on the screen. A powerful way to think about it is as if this diorama is in your skull and you are the center of this world. Think of it as if the mountains, clouds, and moon are just painted on the inside of your skull. The little man or homunculus is not the observer of the internal scene. It is merely an object made of the same substance as is the rest of the perceived scene, because that scene would be incomplete without a replica of your own body in the world. But the perceptual homunculus is more than a mere replica of the physical body. It is a conceptual mechanism constructed by the brain to represent the perceived body within the perceived world. A CPU has registers that contain the knowledge on which the computational binding occurs. All of our vast visual knowledge is contained in the registers of our brain, doing all this computational binding in our heads. Your conscious situational awareness is what it is like for a very large and parallel CPU to do computation. Our brain does computation directly on computationally bound intrinsic phenomenal qualities like redness and greenness.
We could use your support. There's a petition topic on Canonizer titled What Are Color Qualities? There's a link to the Demonstrate Subjective Qualities consensus camp in the description below. It would help if you would sign that consensus camp.